What do you do if you indulge your partner in playing games with them, but every time you do so, they thrash you in them? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, my 27-year-old male, girlfriend 26-year-old female of 4 years, kissed another guy while she was blackout drunk? Edit, I got the information from my girlfriend's friend. Basically, I asked her to reach out to her for more insight. My girlfriend said she didn't remember any of it, so any of the details below didn't come from her. My girlfriend last Saturday had the opportunity to go to a concert with a friend that she recently met. This would be the first time they would have hung out together. My girlfriend had also never met the rest of the group, just the girl. The plan was for them to leave the city after 10 p.m. The concert required a ticket and they only had one left. It would be my girlfriend, her friend's boyfriend, and the boyfriend's friend. My girlfriend called me and we spoke about it. I said I trusted her and I hope she has fun. I was nervous about the whole thing, but what's a relationship without trust? Sadly, throughout the night, she decided to drink too much, so much that she blacked out. She didn't know how and when she got home when she woke up the next day. Long story short, when she was blacked out, she cheated on me. She went off with him at the bar, drank with him, grinded on him, let him hold her, kissed her, and she apparently said, "Let's just act like we're together tonight." Then, towards the car ride back, she made out with him before puking all over the car when they were driving back home. All in the same car together. Ever since I found this out, I've been numb and I just need some opinions here. I just don't know what to believe. She says she was blackout drunk and couldn't remember everything that happened. Not once has she made me feel insecure in the relationship, so I'm torn. How is it that you remember everything but cheating on me? You remember going in, being with your friend, but completely blocked out everything you did to cheat on me? She was very drunk though. I've seen her when she's really drunk and I just know she couldn't have been able to consent either. The friend group needed to walk her up to the stairs to her apartment. Apparently they spent more than half an hour trying to find which door was hers, since she was incapable of answering. One side of me is saying that she was vulnerable and someone took advantage of the opportunity, and no one was there to help her. The other side of me is saying she's lying and knows and was aware about her cheating on me. Am I being too nice and letting the love I have for her blind my judgment? At the same time, I'm so mad that it happened. Not her, but just that it happened. The fact that someone kissed her, felt her up, grinded on her, turns my stomach. I feel mad. I feel sad. I feel confused. Everyone has a different opinion on this. One may say she put herself in a position to be that drunk. And these are the consequences of her actions. That when you're drunk, you act on your inhibitions. And you still make those choices even when drunk. We don't excuse the actions of a drunk driver, so why should this be any different? There's still choices and we should be accountable for those choices. One may also say that it's dangerous to think like that. To say it's what she wanted anyways is indicating she was even in the right mind to consent. I'm not sure that it's fair either. I've heard stories of those who got blackout drunk and did unexplainable things, countering the idea that it was an inhibition but rather just a situation where someone was taken advantage of. That this idea that alcohol exposes who you are is simply a sentence that is being regurgitated and really only changes who you are and your ability to make decisions. In this case, my girlfriend was assaulted. I just don't know what to do or what to believe. I think even in a scenario where they just got totally blackout drunk, they lost all sense of things and they acted out, the trust is probably gone in this relationship, is it not? In the future, if they say, "Hey, I want to go out with my friends," are you ever going to be able to trust that and feel comfortable? In every subsequent outing that she goes on alone, are you ever going to find a sense of peace and comfort with that? I mean, it's possible that the friend was lying or exaggerating. I don't know what they would have to gain from it. The partner saying they have no recollection of anything going on though, personally it makes me incredibly skeptical. The way they acted was kind of single person behavior. What do you guys think? Can this be salvaged or is it already too far gone? Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy tricky relationship topics, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? This next story is my 30-year-old female, boyfriend, 36-year-old male, has PTSD and smokes weed all day. My 30-year-old female, boyfriend, 36-year-old male, and I have been together for a year. He's an Afghanistan vet with PTSD who smokes weed and watches TV all day. He is a great person and boyfriend, but he does not seem to have goals. I know he's dealing with PTSD and I cannot imagine how that is, but it is depressing to be around him sometimes. He wants to get help, but the VA offers really crappy healthcare and he feels stuck. He is an awesome human being, but this feels major. I feel awful telling him how I feel because he's already dealing with PTSD and I doubt that being shamed for it feels good, but I'm not sure how I can deal with this for the rest of my life. I know no one is perfect too. Should I talk to him about how I feel and any advice on a nice way to bring up my concerns? Now, I'm no expert when it comes to PTSD, but to me, it seems like the kind of thing that isn't necessarily treatable by any one person. I feel like if you want some real, genuine progress, you have to find a therapist that really works for you and work through that. And I don't think it's necessarily an overnight process either. I think I would keep trying to poke around and see if there's any kind of alternative resource that would help out veterans in terms of getting therapeutic assistance for things like PTSD. Our next story is my 25-year-old female, fiance 26-year-old male, won't set boundaries with his psychotic father and it's destroying us. Do I leave? Wedding is in 3 weeks. To make a long story short, his dad has been trying to destroy our marriage from the very beginning and has left no stone unturned trying to do so. It has been heck. Absolute heck for me, my family, and my fiance because of this person. He is a clinical narcissist, abusive, liar, crazy manipulative, probably mentally ill, and a truly bad man. Not a single positive trait. He bribes clergymen to lie to my fiance to make up fake scripture to support his sick desires of splitting us up. His family all agrees with my assessment, and he makes their lives absolutely miserable. He's against our marriage due to his obsession with control and continuously tries to split us up, but it didn't work. The issue is here. My fiance is very, very toxically trauma bonded to this man. He used to look up to him as a role model, always say he'd take bullets for him, panders to every manipulative need. This was the first time in my life my fiance did something against his dad's will, so it's the first time he sees things get this bad. The problem is, he won't set a single boundary. He allows the man to berate him for hours and hours on the phone, even though they're in different countries. It's been 2 years of this. He constantly hears himself get called a traitor, a bad son, a pathetic doormat, and so many things that are not true. His dad threatens ending things constantly, sends him pictures of himself with scissors at his throat and says, "This will be your fault," says he's going to die early and it'll be my fiance's fault. And when me and the rest of his family say he needs to put some distance between him and his dad, he just says, "No, that's my dad." Fiance takes all of this to heart terribly, even though everyone tells him none of it is true and that he's done nothing wrong. I do not recognize my fiance anymore. He used to be strong and confident and happy. He's now miserable, uses drugs, lies to me, barely functions as a human. His only objective is pleasing his dad, which all of us know is impossible because the man is mentally ill and doesn't respond to any kind of reason. We've all tried. I brought this to his attention and said, "You're destroying our marriage before we even move in together." Okay, but that's my dad, and refuses to do anything about it. We're not happy anymore. Everything revolves around this psychopath. I don't know how much more I can take. I can be supportive, but not when he's allowing this to happen. I told him I don't recognize you anymore, and I'm terrified to have our wedding and move in with you because you refuse to set a very reasonable boundary and protect yourself in your marriage. He says, "Well, my dad isn't berating you, so it's fine." I'm like, do you really not see how messed up our marriage is because of how much you allow him to berate you? He has also berated me in the past, but I stayed quiet out of respect for my fiance. It's like talking to a wall. He refuses therapy. His mom and siblings all see this for what it is and encourage him to put some distance. We get the same, "It's my dad," in response. What do I do? I feel guilty to leave him after all this, but these are terrifying signs. I cannot help him if he won't help himself, which is what's happening now. We're currently not speaking because I said, "Either you change something or I'm out," and he remained silent. All advice welcome. Honestly, for your sake, and maybe even for his, maybe it would finally be the wake-up call he needs. I think if he's really not going to put healthy boundaries between him and his father, you can't let him continue to drag you down, especially when you're very close to D-Day on your wedding. You stop and survey where things are now, And I think you realize that getting married under these circumstances are a terrible idea. Our next story is, what can I, 23-year-old female, do to feel more secure in my relationship with my boyfriend, 30-year-old male? He says I ruined his holiday weekend. I'm going to try to be as transparent as possible here, so please bear with me. My boyfriend and I have been having lots of fights about, well, other women. Back in February, he cheated on me. At the time, I was taking care of our disabled child and left the relationship completely devastated and moved to another state for a small amount of family support. He said the pain of our daughter's diagnosis led him to fall from what he truly wants with his life. And after 6 months and lots of conversations, I decided to look for a local apartment so we could start parenting together again and have him move here. Fast forward to the day he's going to leave to move here, I find out he's been trying to talk to the woman he cheated on me with. She harassed me all summer and told me to end things, etc. I was devastated, but it was too late. Lease signed. I became insatiable after he got here, always wondering what he was doing and looking up, so I set a boundary that here and there, I want access to his phone. A small price to pay for my peace of mind to parent our child collectively. He agreed, but every time I'd look, there would be other women on there. Whether it was the girl he cheated on me with or his ex of 5 years, never making direct contact, but it was Googling them almost every day, looking at every selfie they've posted. I became so angry, one day I posted his ex and the photos he'd been looking at as his screensaver on his laptop. This turned into a giant fight and I said I was sick of living in his shadow. This turned into him setting a boundary with me, saying I was no longer allowed to look at his phone. Everyone was blocked and that he was going to change his passwords. I was able to let it go for a while, but plagued with the thought that he was still lying and feeling like I was in silent comparison and competition with women I didn't even know. I had to just follow him with blind faith while he still had access to my body and emotions. My emotions are up and down. Sometimes I sulk around and cry. Other times I'm passive aggressive. He says he can't handle the up and down. I have no one. Almost all my family is passed. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. I woke up from a cold sweat with this just guttural, terrible feeling he didn't want to spend the holiday with me. I cried through the morning. We ended up having a decent Thanksgiving lunch. I noticed he left his phone open, and when I looked, through the whole time I was cooking, he was looking at pictures of his ex. Just all the holiday photos of her from the last few years. I began crying, and when he asked why, I apologized for looking but told him how much this hurt me. This turned into him calling me sick in the head, saying if he would have changed his phone password, we'd have had no issue, that I'm trying to prove he doesn't love me. I said it's just a level of disrespect I can't tolerate. He's saying I ruined his holiday weekend and that I need to seek help for my obsession, and he doesn't need to feel like he's experiencing thought crimes about what he thinks about. I said it's not like that, but we fight about other women all the time, and if you don't want to be with me, just lay me down gently. He says him trying to find a better paying job and taking money out of the savings should be enough for me to know he cares. That he just sees her family on his timeline and looks here and there, but that's BS because he looks her up on LinkedIn and other socials. I said he should just defriend her family because it's unfair to me. The comparison has changed me spiritually. I'm grieving in ways no one should have to grieve, all while I take care of our disabled child. He says he loves me and he sees me as his best friend, but I feel so mistreated. Truth is, there isn't another option for me. My child is severely disabled, and I'm her full-time caregiver. I can't just move into a room or sublet something, as her mobility development needs space, and her dad can provide that with his home. I think it's pretty clear that OP needs to go independent here. If they need to try to get better childcare to make that happen, I think that's worth it. I think getting some therapy for themselves would be great. I think you can still co-parent, but you cannot be together either closely under the same roof or together at all, especially not romantically. Our next story is my 25-year-old female boyfriend, 26-year-old male, doesn't want to spend the night with me. Is it just due to miscommunication? We've been dating for over a year. We both have very religious parents. I moved out of my parents' house this year and he still lives with his. Because of this, we've never been on a trip or spent the night together before, which doesn't really bother me because I grew up like that. He has offered to go on a trip and lie to his parents about it, but they're really nice people and I don't want to lie to them. Also, I've been taking very difficult licensing exams all year, so my life pretty much revolves around studying. His parents went out of town this week. We knew about this trip earlier this year, and he would always talk about it, about how I can come over, we can watch movies, order pizza, sleep together, etc. Finally, when their trip got closer, I started to get excited because it sounded fun. Or even just sleeping together would be nice. Here's how the week is played out. Saturday night, he wanted to spend by himself and enjoy some me time. Sunday night, he went to a friend's birthday party. Monday night, he got dinner with a friend. Tuesday night, he picked up a friend from the airport. On Wednesday, I thought, okay, finally, we can have our little sleepover date tonight. But when I talked to him on the phone, he said he forgot he promised his friend they would have a movie night while his parents were gone. At this point, I realized we weren't having our sleepover night at all because I was busy on Thanksgiving and he had dinner plans with his friends on Friday night, tonight. So I brought this up to him on Wednesday. I told him I was pretty upset that he could easily tell me, sorry, not tonight. I forgot I told my friend we would have a movie night, but he can't tell his friends, hey, not tonight, you guys. I told my girlfriend I would hang out with her. His parents were gone for 7 days and he couldn't carve out one night for me. In his defense, he has invited me to all of these social functions, but I didn't go because they're all in different cities and hours-long commitments that I can't do right now because I have my last licensing exam coming up. He also said that when he would talk about me coming over, I would mention that his bed is pretty small, so he thought I wouldn't mind. He can't spend the night at my place because he has to watch his dog, and he thought I didn't want to spend the night at his place. He said he would cancel his dinner on Friday, and I asked him, are you canceling because you actually feel bad or because I'm bugging you about it? He said he felt bad, but he doesn't want to argue anymore. After thinking about it, I feel like this might be grounds for a breakup because I'm pretty upset that after dating for over a year, he is still putting me second to his friends, and I've been treated better before. Is this all just a miscommunication, or is this truly grounds for breaking up? I really love him, but I love me too, and I feel like I deserve better. I think whether or not it's grounds for breaking up, it's whether or not this seems like something that can be worked on or improved upon. I would definitely say that if I were in OP's position, I would be feeling particularly upset that they said, hey, my parents aren't around for a week, and they flake on you every single time. Like, it's just the total lack of awareness or care. And it's not even like you went over there and then they realized, oh, hey, I have 7 things planned. Repeatedly, it was like last second things that popped up that they chose over you, essentially. This next story is, should you confront passive-aggressive behavior? My 27-year-old female, dad, 60-year-old male, got mad that I told him I was uncomfortable with him tossing my shoes in the garage. Later, I found that shoe on top of my clean underwear. Basically, the garage is like hoarder level with a mouse problem, and I just walked past and noticed my shoes were on a pile. Apparently, I'd left them in the car after a trip. The car is always completely full of stuff. I was annoyed because I don't know how long they've been there, and he also has a habit of practically burying my stuff, and I never see it again. So I brought them in and went into the kitchen and said it made me uncomfortable that he just tossed them there because of the mice, etc. With the intention of like, hey, next time please don't do that. Back in the day, I never expressed any emotions ever, and was never really aware of what emotions I was feeling anyway, but I just would have sucked it up. Maybe should have, because he tossed the dishwasher rack he was looking at, like physically chucked it, and started stomping around with really heavy steps, cursing, etc. that he should have just tossed my shoes in the trash, or burned them, or burned this whole place down. Yes, I realized that's a bit more than passive-aggressive, and then he left. There's never been anything physical ever, but there's always been throwing and kicking objects and things mysteriously ending up broken. So later, I noticed my shoes soled down on my freshly washed underwear. Part of me wants to confront him because I don't want to be a person that ignores things anymore. The other part doesn't feel like it's worth it, but I feel like if I don't, I'll have resentment and won't be able to just pretend everything is okay. He's already pretending like nothing happened. So is passive-aggressive stuff better left ignored, or should I bring it up with him? Really, I wish there was a black or white solution in this situation. Considering the way he acts, if there's no way to get out of this place, it might be better just to try to work around him and not try to agitate him, just to try to keep the stress levels lower. I would just say don't get complacent and continue trying to push to get yourself out of there. Our next story is, I, 21-year-old male, am mad because my girlfriend, 20-year-old female, forgot my birthday. Hello everyone, I'm here seeking for advice because today was my birthday and my girlfriend of 2 almost years forgot that it was my birthday. Normally it wouldn't be an issue, but seeing how implicated and devoted she was for her best friend, male, and how she prepared everything, I feel kinda left behind. I don't know if my anger is justified and I'm about to burst. Right now I'm still talking as if everything was okay, but honestly this just doesn't sit well to me. I get people forget, but if she can remember his birthday 1 month before and prepare for it, I think she just doesn't hold me as dearly as him. I don't know what to do. I'm not asking for any gift, just a happy birthday text. Is my anger justified and what should I do? Please help, I'm about to just drop everything. I think there's a reasonable expectation for your partner, especially one of almost 2 years, to at least remember and acknowledge your birthday, if not do anything nice for you. I can't lie that I would be feeling particularly upset if they remembered and did so much for their best friend, yet can't muster up anything or even remember mine. I mean, even if they just set some kind of reminder on their phone or something and popped in to say happy birthday, go and buy me a cupcake or something, I think it's justifiable to be upset and call them out on them completely forgetting an important day. I mean, think about it like this. If you forgot her birthday, how do you think she would react? This next story is, boyfriend, 36-year-old male, doesn't want me, 28-year-old female, to move in with him. We've been together for 2.5 years, and we both haven't lived with partners before. We broke up for a few months this year after we moved in together. He asked me to move in last year, and after a couple months, things between us changed and he ended the relationship. I've been living back at my parents' house due to the breakup, and we've been happy ever since getting back together. But I sometimes have this nagging feeling about him not being able to commit. He's never had a long-term relationship besides me. I really want to get married and have a family one day, and as far as I know, he's on the same page, but I have doubts that he really truly does want the same things as me. For example, he does talk about the negatives of having kids. I brought up moving out of my parents next year, and I suggested to him that I move back into his place so we can move the relationship forward. But he said he would have to think about it and he's not so sure. He said he likes our relationship how it is now and that he likes his own space. He also said as we broke up, we need to give it more time. To be honest, I feel like he's using our breakup as an excuse to not move things forward. I'm at the point in my life where I want to be buying a house together, thinking about getting married and thinking about having a family in a few years, but I'm worried that I'm wasting my time in this current relationship. I just want him to want to move it forward and make it more serious with me. I'm not sure if I'm being unreasonable. Any opinions or advice on my situation? I genuinely think if somebody in relatively normal circumstances is not ready to properly commit to a partner of 2.5 years, and they're not even at the stage of moving in together, then I think there's some real big question marks going on. Him after 2.5 years saying, oh well, I think we need to take it a little bit slower, I like my own space, sounds to me like they're not really that serious here. Really, it sounds to me like they enjoy the perks of having a partner, but only when they're on call. Our next story is, partner is financially inept. I am 25-year-old male, and my partner is 32-year-old male. We've been together for almost 2 years. We've lived together for almost as long the same time. Pretty much everything is perfect, and we're happy, except this one problem. It's the cause of all our arguments. It drives me up the wall, and I'm pleading on here for any advice on how we can work through this. The problem is that even though we manage to pay the bills, he is almost every month going into debt and overdraft on his banks. And then has to be rescued out of it either by me personally or the joint savings pot that are meant to be for things for the house that we both want. I have tried for months and months to teach him how he can budget, but none of it sinks in. As recent as a few months ago, we agreed on me trying to manage his finances for him through watching his bank statements, but even that was not viable as he still just uses his card to the point of having under zero in his bank. And it's not like I can stop him. I feel like I've tried almost everything I can think of. I want so much to be able to help him to become better, rather than taking hold of his finances, because I don't want him to use me as a crutch and for me to control all of his money. It just feels controlling, but I just don't know what to do anymore. It stresses me out to no end, not even knowing if we're going to have enough money for food some months. Any advice at all would be really appreciated. Honestly, I think this is going to be an absolute relationship breaking thing, unless there is some kind of circumstance where maybe they can shift to having you properly in control of finances. And that would be specifically, they have a debit card attached to an account that only you can deposit money into. Then that way they would really learn firsthand how much they have to budget and how easily they blow through that all. If he's not willing to do that, and by extension, he's not willing to ever truly learn how to be financially responsible, how is this ever going to work out? Our next story is my 21-year-old female, boyfriend 21-year-old male, acts strangely when we're with my female friend. My boyfriend and I are both 21 and have been together for just over a year now. He's normally great and very attentive, but I've noticed that sometimes he acts odd when we're with my female friend. Let's call her Jay. Jay and I have been friends for a few years and are quite good friends, and my boyfriend has met her a few times through me. Yesterday, we were out with some friends and Jay was also there. The evening itself was fine, but as we were leaving, it just felt like he kept walking behind her like a lost puppy and didn't care about me. He and I had been walking together when he stopped all of a sudden to wait for Jay, who was talking to another friend, without saying anything. When they started walking again, he stayed by her side and followed her wherever she went, again without a word to me or to check if I was even still with them. By the time we were walking to the car, the two of them were quite a bit ahead of me and I was wearing uncomfortable heels, so walking slowly, which my boyfriend knew, I spotted my friend having a smoke and stopped to have a quick chat and say goodbye. It was only then that Jay and my boyfriend noticed that I wasn't with them and turned around to find me. Once we said goodbye to my friend, we carried on walking to the car, but again the two of them walked quite fast, and my boyfriend made no effort in slowing down or seeing if I was okay. I've noticed that it happened in the past too, where my boyfriend forgets about me when Jay is around and will just speak exclusively to her rather than me. I haven't brought it up to my boyfriend because I don't know what to say. I know he'll probably brush it off and I don't want to sound crazy or jealous. I know there's nothing going on between them in case anyone was wondering. I just don't like how he acts, but I don't know if I should speak to him about it or how I should say it without sounding jealous. I think it's just consideration. I mean, I think it's fair to say that in situations like that, you feel like they're kind of just leaving you behind. You were wearing uncomfortable heels and you were starting to get noticeably behind, and they never once stopped to even look or check. I think anybody in that situation is fair to say, "You're my partner, where are you?" Our next story is boyfriend, 30s, is always asking me to play games with him. But when I do, he absolutely thrashes me. My 30s-year-old female, boyfriend, 30s-year-old male, really likes playing board games, video games, all kinds of games, etc. He is always asking me to play games with him and his friends. But the problem is, I didn't grow up playing games, so I'm kind of a beginner. The second I play with him or his friends, I'm instantly thrashed and I'm always the loser or the benchwarmer, so to speak. It's really disheartening because I feel like I can never learn or get better because I'm always getting cut down ruthlessly, no matter how hard I try to learn and compete with them. The worst part is, if I try to ask for advice on how to get better at said board game, they'll give me cryptic answers that make no sense, actively try to confuse or mislead me because they don't want to help out the enemy and jeopardize their chances of winning. It's super confusing and I'm always without fail the loser. I've taken it on the chin for a while now, but today we were playing a board game and boyfriend and friend started in on their hardline cutthroat tactics again, and I just freaking snapped. I said, "I don't want to play games with you guys," him and his friend, anymore. If all you're going to do is this cutthroat bull where a beginner just gets absolutely murdered just for being new because it's not fun. I can't even learn because they won't answer me or teach me because they're afraid I'll learn and become competitive with them. It really feels like they just want somebody to be the perpetual loser so they can feel good about themselves. In the past, I was that person for them, but I think it's starting to affect me mentally and I honestly think I'm done. They tried arguing with me. "This is how you learn and get good," and convincing me to stay, but it's seriously not fun anymore, and I'm tired of taking it on the chin and pretending like I'm having fun when in reality I feel sad, stupid, and confused that I can never seem to make any kind of progress because him and the boys are always playing with these hardline, super duper competitive tactics and don't want to leave room for a beginner or even help me learn. So I love games of all kinds. I've been known to play games a time or two, even on some quiet, dusty reaches of YouTube, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I despise people who act like this. People who gatekeep rules and instructions on how to play just because it, in their opinion, disadvantages them to teach somebody else how to play the freaking game. Honestly, it says a lot about the person that they're that threatened and concerned about your ability to grow and be better at the game by learning how the rules and the game works, than they would rather try to keep you in the dark just so they can feel superior. If they're not going to make a good faith effort to actually play the game with you and allow you to even learn how it works, I wouldn't keep playing either. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another tricky relationship topic, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.